A man who asks you out to coffee, say no. No, don't let him take you out unless he can pay for a full meal for you. Coffee dates are a cheap way to get out of a real date, and real men don't do that. So, say no.
Hold on a second. So you're really telling me that you're leaving your house to go on a coffee date? And you're trying to convince me that that is a real date. That's not a real date. That's a vibe check. He's not being intentional, and that is not investment. And if that is how you're starting off with that man, it's not going anywhere. And I don't need to be psychic to tell you that. It's going nowhere. Because in the beginning, if a man is not trying to impress you, he doesn't care enough, okay? He does not give an F. What are you doing? It's 2025. Raise those standards, baby. Raise them, okay?
Single women really out here keeping each other single. You've got women acting like a coffee date isn't enough and expecting wife treatment right from the start. Want to be treated like a wife on day one? That's setting the bar way too high. A guy suggesting coffee doesn't mean he's not serious. It just means he's not ready to throw a full dinner and a show of effort before he even knows you.
Men, when you ask a woman out for coffee, I feel like this is what you think. When they decline, I think you're like, well, see, they only wanted my money. And they think that I don't have anything, and I just didn't want to go out with someone who wants me for my money. So now that she canceled, I know that she was a gold digger. That's what I think you're thinking. Women are thinking this. Hey, he invited me for a cup of coffee. I know through other men who are teaching women how to invest in themselves and find a partner who actually wants to go out with them and get to know them, has told me this is very low value. I have to decline this because this person doesn't value me and probably goes out with a bunch of other people for coffee, and I want someone who's making an investment up front and shows me that they care and put some thought into this date.
If a man asks you out on a coffee date, charge him $500. As a divorce lawyer, let me tell you why. Coffee is for colleagues. Coffee is not for courting. Would that man ask Margot Robbie out on a coffee date? When a man asks you out on a coffee date, what he's really saying is, I want your time, your energy, your presence at the lowest possible cost to me. Coffee is cheap. Coffee is convenient. Coffee takes zero effort. And yet your time is not cheap. Your presence is not convenient. And your energy is not effortless. It's valuable. I've seen women pour hours of their lives into men who never invested more than the price of a latte. They call it getting to know you, but really it's about seeing how much they can get without giving. And the problem is, too many women accept it. The standard you set on the first date is the one you'll be judged by the whole relationship. Men who are serious don't ask you for the bare minimum. They plan, they invest, they create experiences because they understand that your time is worth more than $6 and an awkward conversation over burnt espresso. I tell my clients this all the time. You don't need grand gestures, but you do need effort. Because a man who won't invest in you at the beginning will definitely not invest in you when life gets hard. If he cuts corners on courting, he'll cut corners in marriage. If a man asks you out for coffee, send him an invoice. Charge him $500 because that's closer to the real value of your time, your energy, and your presence.
So now we're charging men $500 for a coffee date? Honestly, it sounds like someone's been watching too many rom-coms and thinks they're a queen waiting for a king to come bearing gold. Coffee's fine for a first date. It's casual, low pressure, and gives you a chance to see if there's any real connection. But expecting a man to fork over $500 just to sit down for a chat? That's not standards. That's delusion.
This is why you should never accept a coffee date for a first date. Perhaps it sounds convenient to you because you don't need to spend the whole evening with a stranger you may not like. But a guy who just invites you for coffee shows such low effort, it almost shows as if he's not interested in getting to know you. As if he says, let that girl prove herself first before I'm willing to take her out for dinner. But let me tell you what this says about you. If you accept a coffee date, that actually shows that you accept the bare minimum, and that shows how you see yourself. Because if you don't see yourself as being worthy of something more than just a coffee, how can he be convinced? The purpose of dating is to meet new people and maybe to meet a potential boyfriend while having fun. But a coffee date doesn't sound like fun. It sounds more like a job. Okay, I'll go sit there for half an hour, see if he's worth it, see if I like him, and then we're talking. And then it's the coffee date that becomes a waste of time because how much can you get to know somebody in half an hour to an hour? Let him take you out for dinner and enjoy it, and never forget you're a free woman. If you don't like the guy, kindly excuse yourself and leave.
I just had a guy ask me out on a coffee date. I'm sorry, I don't drink coffee, but even if I did, I wouldn't go on the date because I feel like I'm more of an investment than a coffee date. I just think that that's very high school and I don't like it. And when I try to explain in the nicest way that why I'm not interested, he's trying to give me other ideas that's basically on the same level as coffee. Like, oh, let's go to ice cream. Let's go to a bakery. I'm not a sweets person, not a bakery person. I'm a lunch and dinner person. So take me out to lunch and dinner. He's like, oh, but what if we don't click? And then I spent all this money on an expensive dinner and, you're just going to walk away from my life. I never said it had to be an expensive dinner, but I like dinner. I don't like dessert. I am a high value woman. I am a classy lady. Like, I'm not trying to go to an ice cream or dessert shop. I don't even like that stuff, So I just feel like I just basically said we're not compatible. And he was like, oh, fine, bye. Like, he got so upset, but I'm like, I don't understand why guys do this, but whatever. Am I wrong? Tell me in the comments if I'm wrong.
Investment sounds more like liability. A first date isn't an investment. It's about two people meeting and seeing if they click. It's not a business deal. It's just a chance to explore each other's minds. Acting like every date has to be a financial commitment, you're missing the point.
I think it's perfectly socially acceptable to go on dates as a hobby. Like, one of my hobbies is going on first dates. And here I am. I go on the first date, like, sure, yeah, to meet the guy, to talk, get to know them, tell them about me, like, see if there's potential love there, like, whatever. Like, that's a small part of it. The big part of it is that I go and I get to try a new restaurant or a new spot in Boston. And usually, if not always, it's fun to buy the guy. So I'm like, ooh, like, let's go explore a little bit. Let's try to, like, grow what I know about my city. And then when I go out with my friends, I can be like, oh my god, I went to this really cool new spot, like, let me show you. So I always try to get the guy to, like, pick a restaurant that I haven't been to yet, or pick a cool new up and coming spot or whatever. So anyway, today we are going to the F1 arcade in Seaport, which I haven't been to, but it's like run by like the F1 racing company or whatever, and it's got like all these like simulators and I don't know, like professional race car driving games. So that's what we're doing today. Never been. The offer was that or Pet Shack, and I'm like, I've already done Pet Shack, and like Cisco's right there, so that might be a part of it. But I'm really excited to go and check it out and try something new and explore more of my city. Because if I'm gonna go on a date and like this guy might be great, but he might also just like, most likely most of them are just like not my vibe, like, and that's fine. But at least I'm gonna go try a new spot and go drive some fast cars.
Going on dates as a hobby? That's a new one. Sounds more like you're using guys as an excuse to try new restaurants and explore the city. You're not even focused on meeting someone. You're just looking for the next cool spot to post about. That's not really a date. It's just a free tour guide.
I've said this numerous of times, and it's always rang true. A lot of women today don't know how to date. And this is why they go through a revolving door of men after men after men, and then all niggas ain't shit. And I say that to say because I see the discussion around having a coffee date. And women saying, that's not for me, that's low effort, that's low this, low that, that's what you did. I don't care what y'all talking about. The lady that recently sparked that coffee date conversation, because these are discussions that's been had for a long time, she'd be lucky if anybody asked her for directions. She'd be lucky if anybody asked her for directions. But now you don't do coffee dates. Now, I'm not saying you have to, but I'm saying a lot of y'all don't know how to date. There's this romanticized idea of how much money he needs to spend, where he needs to take you, all these things to legitimize it as a date, opposed to looking at it as, okay, it's low pressure, you're safe, because most of the time it's during a coffee date would be during the daytime, low expectations, he can't expect nothing from you, you sure can't expect nothing from him. You're not committed to getting dressed and putting on your finest and doing all the things, the full theater that you would do if it's a dinner date. It's a nice icebreaker. It's simple, right? And through the coffee date, he could get to figure out if he like you. You could get to figure out if you like him, and it could go anywhere or it could go nowhere, right? Opposed to committing. How many times, ladies, the ones that are dating, how many times have you gone on a date with a man and realized quickly he's an idiot, but you already committed the outfit, you already committed the night, you already committed yourself to this date, so now you gotta go through it, and now you suffering through that shit. Like, let's be real. Like, I don't get it. I remember when I worked downtown Brooklyn when I lived in New York. And if you know downtown Brooklyn, you know there's the fire chief department over there. There's City College. There's all the courts. There's a Chase head office over there. There's Con Edison. There's all types of, major companies that is there. So you could be walking to the halal spot to get a gyro or something, and you talking to a judge, or you talking to a lawyer, or you talking to a doctor, because there's a bunch of medical centers down there too. This person is in charge of the NICU or something. Like, you never know. And I've seen people on cute, coffee date, whether it's at Panera Bread or wherever. And I don't know, because I know because of the environment, she's probably making good money and he's probably making good money. Both of these people are on a coffee date, whether it's during their lunch break or after work. Like, once again, I'm seeing single women telling other single women not to take coffee dates, and men cosplaying as women telling other single women not to take coffee dates. This shit is, I'm so glad I'm not in this dating pool. I'm so glad I'm out of this. And strategically, I've always dated with a purpose. I wasn't in the pool very long anyway, but to say no to a coffee date, especially if you can gauge the pedigree of the man,